We are on the eve of number one Ohio State versus number two Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. And I believe that Indiana this week got some really, really good news that is going to help them in this game against Ohio State. Now, if you've been following National Signing Day, all this stuff, you know that Ohio State's name has been out there in the media quite a lot. Okay. I've been covering a lot of it on this channel. You go read all these different websites and watch other videos here on YouTube, you'll find out that Ohio State in recruiting, Ohio State in coaching, and Ohio State on the football field has been in the news quite an awful lot. And I think some of this news could be a distraction for Ohio State and help Indiana, have an advantage in this game in this area. So we're going to talk about Indiana in a minute, but I do want to go over some of the drama that's been going on around Ohio State that I do believe could provide an advantage for Indiana. Number one is the Ohio State-Michigan game, okay? Obviously, Ohio State had not beaten Michigan for multiple years, 4 straight losses to them. They finally got the monkey off their back, and I think a lot of people are looking at this as a huge positive for Ohio State going into the Big Ten championship game. And yes, I think it was a positive. Obviously, they're confident. They're going into it. They wouldn't have been in the Big Ten championship game if they wouldn't have won if they wouldn't have won this game. So obviously they needed to get it. But from what we saw after the game, the celebrating, which is fine, players definitely allowed to celebrate. But even days later, or Ohio State, normally Ryan Day doesn't want to talk about the last game very much, but he did entertain questions about the Ohio State Michigan game. And in his answers, you could tell he was still, very happy about the win. And this isn't to say that Ryan Day isn't allowed to be happy. Of course, Ryan Day is allowed to be happy, but still kind of focusing on the game a little bit and what happened there. They got into the helmet communication that went out. Ryan Day talked about how he had an inkling this might have happened, and he was kind of having some fun with it. We talked about it on the live show. He winked to the media and was kind of, grinning and having a good time with it, which is all fine, but it does show that that game was, at least in that very moment, still on Ryan Day's mind. And if it's still on Ryan Day's mind, how much is it on the mind of the players? How much are they focused on that? How much are they still celebrating that and not on to the next week, right? You got a much, much better team in Indiana going up against you, and that's going to be 10 times, well, not 10 times the challenge, but an even bigger challenge than what you had with Michigan at Ann Arbor. And if Ohio State is not careful, if they're not focusing on that enough, they could not prepare, possibly they could not prepare as much. Indiana, they won their rivalry game 56-3, easy work, easy business. That's what Kirk Cinetti does, right? Purdue, you're not going to beat Kirk Cinetti for a very long time, most likely. I mean, let's just call it what it is. So all of this with the Michigan could kind of impact things with Ohio State. On top of that, you got the 2 coordinators that got some drama around them as well. Obviously, everybody knows about Brian Hartline. He takes the job at USF. He's trying to work through, all right, I got to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State now. I got to also try to put together my staff at USF. I also got to kind of work with recruiting and stuff like that a little bit. He was signed on National Signing Day. So he's got a lot kind of juggling right now. Will the USF job provide, him some drama that kind of takes his focus away from the Indiana game? I think probably not, but if it does, that's good news for Indiana, as it does give them an advantage and a step up over Ohio State in their preparation. And then on top of that, Matt Patricia was contacted about the Penn State head coaching job this week, and he found that to be intriguing. Now, it doesn't sound like Matt Patricia is looking at it very much, talking to Penn State very much, but you ought to know that's going to be on his mind. He came back to college to try and rehabilitate his image a little bit, show that he's still a coach. The plan was probably that he was going to go back to the NFL, but a head coaching job opens up now. It's a top tier program in the best conference in college football. Could be something he's really interested in. Could be something that he's focusing on a little bit more than this Indiana game coming up. And if all 3 of these coaches are focusing on those things more, and Ryan Day could be focusing on stuff like that a little bit too much. Obviously not more than the Indiana game, but too much with the thought of losing both coordinators again. He lost both coordinators last season. Is he going to lose both coordinators here? Is he trying to look at who am I going to hire as my coordinator? Who am I going to hire as my wide receiver coach? What do I do at defensive coordinator if Matt Patricia leaves? It could be something that he's thinking about too. And then on top of that, I mean, there's 5 different things here we're going to get into. That was just number 2. Number 3 are the flips that Ohio State lost. Expected some of one of them, but the completely unexpected one in Legend Bey. I just did a video on Legend Bey. I'll link that down below so that way you can go watch that video if you're curious on what happened with Legend Bey. But you get Caden Dixon-Wyatt flipping away from Ohio State to USC. That's okay. Like they were kind of expecting something like that to happen. It is what it is. And then Legend Bey comes up in that crazy story where Ohio State is essentially scrambling to try and get Legend Bey in the class. And they can't do anything about it because the kid's only 17 years old and he has to have his mom sign with him. But his mom is refusing to sign to put him at Ohio State. Again, much, much more to the story than that. Go check out the video down below to figure out more about what happened there. But that's basically, the gist of what went on there. And all of that drama has to provide, Ohio State with like, oh my gosh, what do you kidding's going to happen here? Now, the other thing is more good news for Ohio State. Number 4 are the flips they got. They got Darius McKinney there from LSU for him to flip over. They got the safety from Clemson, Caden Gebhart, for him to come over as well. Could this be another confidence thing that's kind of, puffing out Ohio State's chest a little bit? Who knows? It might. And then finally, they have the unresolved drama of the flips, right? You got Chris Henry Jr. Apparently, people are saying that he didn't even know about about Brian Hartline going, accepting the job at South Florida until after it broke on Twitter. Sounds like Brian Hartline was saying he was trying to call Chris Henry Jr., so he did make an effort there to try and let him know, but just things get wrapped up. And I mean, it's a morning to school. It's one of the biggest days of your life, signing with a school. You might be a little busy. You might, have your headspace someplace else. Anyway, that's a completely, a lot of speculation in that story. So I don't want to even roll with that at all. But the point is that there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of drama going on with Chris Henry Jr., the other wide receiver there from Indianapolis, Jaquaden Guilford. Sounds like he signed with Ohio State, but that one was still delayed, and that was another conversation that Ryan Day was going to have. I said in the Chris Henry video that if Ryan Day is somehow able to keep Chris Henry, Jaquaden Guilford, and beat Indiana, he's got to be like the best coach in college football forever if he's able to juggle all of that going on. It's just a lot to juggle. It's a lot to figure out. Meanwhile, yeah, sure, Indiana had a little bit of drama on their signing day. Who doesn't? It's signing day. That kind of stuff is always going to happen. But this team has been drama free pretty much all week long. They've done nothing but work, get ready, get healthy, get the guys out there. So that way Indiana's going to come out. I think they're going to come out with a better game plan. I think they're going to come out better prepared than Ohio State. And also, it's not just the coaches. I forgot to mention this earlier. With Chris Henry Jr., you got the players tweeting at him. You got the players going out. Of course, the Oregon players are tweeting at Chris Henry Jr., but Jeremiah Smith, the star wide receiver for Ohio State, he was tweeting at him as well. So that's on the players' minds as well as the coaches. Meanwhile, Indiana, the players got their mindset for Ohio State. The coaches got their mindset for Ohio State. The emotional win over Michigan, Ohio State, they had that big thing. Indiana, just another day at the office. Took down Purdue, on to the next one. Is Ohio State just took down Michigan, on to the next one? Or are they letting it linger? Are they kind of letting that stick with them a little bit more? So many distractions going on with Ohio State. Who's going to be the offensive coordinator? What's going to happen with this recruit? On and on and on. And this could honestly, in fact, impact some of the rhythm for Ohio State as well. And Indiana, we know they are one of, if not the best coach team in all of college football this season. They prepare like nobody else. They have great athletes, but they also have smart athletes as well. And you best believe that Bryant Haynes, Mike Shanahan, they were on these guys. Get to know this. Get to watch your tape. Know these guys. And Kirk Sinnett even came out. He said, we're not a long practice team. Get your work done. Get out of there. It's, it's relaxed kind of stuff, but not relaxed in a bad way of like people don't get stuff done. It's relaxed as in get your stuff done. I trust you. So for a guy to leave the facility and say, I trust my players, they're going to go get their work done, be drama free versus Ohio State, who's got the drama. Man, this Ohio State Indiana game just got a lot more interesting when you look at it from this angle. Does this mean Ohio State's going to lose? No. I mean, they still have to play it on the field, right? But I do think this could be an advantage for Indiana. We'll know more in the game. We'll see. You know, Ohio State has been heralded for their business-like approach this season. They've won every single game except for the Texas game by 18 points or more. They have not really struggled with falling asleep in a game or anything like that. Could this be the game? The game against the most difficult opponent they're going to face this season. Could this be the game where they fall asleep a little bit? Maybe Indiana jumps out to a lead. And if you give Indiana a lead, sure, Ohio State can come back, but it's going to be much more favorable for Indiana to go into it there. How is Ohio State mentally? Indiana, we know they're locked in mentally. This is crazy stuff. Not a whole lot of on-field game analysis here. This is more just kind of like thought perspective. And I'd love to know what your perspective is on this. Are you somebody that's like, JR, this doesn't matter. Like, Ohio State's still Ohio State, not a big deal. Love to know if you think that in the comments. If you're with me and you're like, hey, this could be a thing. Like, this is a lot for Ryan Day, for Brian Hartline, for Matt Patricia, for Jeremiah Smith, the players. All these people to be juggling out there, let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please do like, subscribe, do all that good stuff for us here at the Big Ten Huddle. This Indiana game, in Ohio State game, is going to be phenomenal. This is going to be a great football game, and we are going to recap it live right after it on Saturday night. Come here, join us for the live game recap. We're going to have a lot of fun. Whoever wins, they're going to be the #1 seed in all of college football, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see it happen. So thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Have a good one.